Hey everybody, this is Rycard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon Sun and Moon Movesets video. In this video, we're going to be discussing all about the Midnight form of Lycanroc, so let's get started by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, abilities, and stats. So to start things off, Lycanroc is a Rock-type Pokemon just like the other variation that possesses three abilities, the first of which being shared between the two in Keen Eye, which is an ability that makes it so that this Pokemon's accuracy can never be lowered, and so that it ignores evasion boosts from its opponents. As for its next ability though, it is known as Vital Spirit, which makes it so that this Pokemon cannot fall asleep, and then its hidden ability is known as No Guard, which is an ability that makes it so that all of your attacks will hit your opponents regardless of their accuracy, which is possibly one of the most amazing things to happen for a Rock-type Pokemon because of how often Stone Edge tends to miss, and with the No Guard ability, you do not have to worry about that. As for its stats though, this variation of Lycanroc is quite a bit more bulky than the other one, possessing base 85 HP, 75 physical defense, and 75 special defense, making it able to take hits a little bit better than the other variation. Its attack stats, however, are exactly the same, being base 115 physical attack and base 55 special attack, meaning that you're almost always going to be going with the physical attacking set with this guy. And then at the cost of losing 30 points in its speed to make it more bulky, this variation of Lycanroc only has base 82 speed, which is significantly slower, but at the cost of obviously being able to take a hit or two. However, this speed is still pretty good as compared to a lot of the other Alolan Pokemon, so that is something to keep in mind. But with that, let's take a look at the first moveset that I have for you in this video. So for this first moveset, we're going to run this form of Lycanroc as a Speedy attacker. So we're going to start by giving it a Jolly Nature to increase its speed but lower its special attack, or an Adamant Nature to increase its physical attack but lower its special attack. As to the ability, going with either Vital Spirit or No Guard is an option here to make it so that you either can't be put to sleep by an opponent's attack or never miss any of your moves. As for the EVs though, we're going to put 252 into its physical attack to max that out, 4 into its special defense, and then 252 EVs into its speed to max that out as well. And for the item, going with either a Choice Band to boost your physical attacks, a Choice Scarf to boost your speed, a Life Orb to boost the damage of all of your moves at the cost of losing 10% of your health each time you damage your opponent, an Expert Belt to boost the power of your super effective attacks, an Assault Vest as a way to boost your special defense a little bit, leftovers to allow you to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn, or an Air Balloon to make you immune to the ground type attacks that Lycanroc normally takes super effective damage from. As for the moves though, the first one on this moveset is going to be Stone Edge, which is going to be your main stab rock type attack, and then combined that with a main dark type attack to give you some extra coverage in the form of either Crunch or Sucker Punch. Along with that, we're going to be running either Fire Fang or Brick Break as a way to give this Pokemon some options versus Steel types that it would normally struggle with, and then in the last move slot, give it Thunder Fang as a way to give it some additional type coverage, or even run Stealth Rock on it to make it kind of an offensive Stealth Rocker that will either force things out due to the power of it, or possibly set up hazards against an opponent that would normally not want to stay in versus this Pokemon. Another variation of this moveset does exist, however, if you want to just maximize its bulk. So for this variation, we're going to run an Adamant Nature to boost its physical attack and lower its special attack, and then change up the EV spread to include more HP EVs, which is actually 224 HP EVs, 252 physical attack EVs, and then putting the remainder 32 EVs into its speed to allow this Pokemon to outspeed base 85 speed Pokemon that it falls just shy of outspeeding due to its base 82 speed. For the item, again, things are pretty much exactly the same though, at the cost of just getting rid of a Choice Scarf there since we're not running any speed on this moveset. But overall, if you want to run this Pokemon a little bit more bulky, this is definitely the way to go. As for this next moveset, we're going to be focusing on making Lycanroc into a boosting attacker. So we're going to start this one off by giving it the same nature options as the previous set of Jolly and Adamant, and giving it the same ability options of Vital Spirit and No Guard with the same full offensive EV spread of 252 physical attack EVs, 4 special defense EVs, and 252 speed EVs. As for the item, this time we can either run leftovers to allow us to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn, a Life Orb to boost the damage of our moves, or Rockinium Z as a one-time really super powerful rock type move to use versus your opponents. As for the moves though, the first one that we're going to be running is going to be one of our boosting moves in the form of either Swords Dance to boost our physical attack by 2 stages, or Rock Polish to boost our speed by 2 stages. And both of these basically change the things that Lycanroc is able to deal a lot of damage to. If you want to go more power, Swords Dance is your option. If you want to go more speed to basically outspeed a ton of things and take them out easily, Rock Polish is the way to go. There even could be a variation on the moveset where you use both options, but it's a little bit risky to go for. For the main attacking moves though, again, we're going to be using Stone Edge, Sucker Punch or Crunch, and then Fire Fang or Brick Break as your 3 move slots to give this Pokemon some good type coverage and allow it to deal a lot of damage to its opponents. It's also important to note that Stone Edge, when combined with Rockinium Z, is a super powerful physical rock-type move, so you can go that route if you want, but overall, if your goal is to just deal as much damage as possible, a Life Orb is the best way to go for boosting the power of all of your attacks. Again, however, there is another way to run this moveset if you want to, again, maximize and play off of Lycanroc's bulk, which is including an Adamant Nature this time, and then the same EV spread as the bulkier version of the previous set, of 224 HP EVs, 252 physical attack EVs, and 32 speed EVs. It's also important to note that this variation can be very effective due to the fact that we're running priority in the form of Sucker Punch if you're going to just run Swords Dance on this Pokemon, so do not worry about sacrificing some speed because the priority is there to help you out. As for this moveset, it is yet another boosting set for Lycanroc to run, but it's going to play on some other options to allow this Pokemon to boost its stats in some different ways. So it's first important to note that we're going to be running the same nature options, same ability options, and same EV spread as the previous fast Lycanroc boosting set. But for the item, this time including a Slackberry as a way to possibly boost your speed by 1 stage when you hit 25% of your health or below, or a Lychee Berry to do the same exact thing but for your physical attack. For the moves on this set though, we are going to include Substitute this time to allow Lycanroc to get behind a protective barrier to shield it from attacks and statuses while it tries to set up. Then again, we're going to go with either Swords Dance or Rock Polish as a boosting option to boost our physical attack or our speed, and then go with Stone Edge as your main rock type attack as always, and then go with Reversal as a way to use a super powerful fighting type move when you get to 1 HP as a result of substituting down to it, or Sucker Punch as a way to give this Pokemon some priority. It's also important to note that if you do use the Sucker Punch variant, if you are behind a sub, your opponent is more or less forced to attack you, which is going to guarantee that Sucker Punch hits them, which is really cool to keep in mind. But if you want to go the fun variation, which is basically the only reason why I'm putting this set out here, because this variation of Lycanroc does learn Reversal, whereas the other one does not, going with Swords Dance and a Slackberry will allow you to boost your physical attack and your speed to then use a super powerful Reversal once you sub down to 1 HP, or going with Rock Polish and then Lychee Berry will do the same thing but focus a little bit more on your speed stat. But either option can be very fun when using this Pokemon with Reversal. However, Substitute with Sucker Punch is really good as well for allowing this Pokemon to just hit things really hard and fast after it's had the chance to set up. As to this next moveset, this is what I anticipate a fully defensive Lycanroc moveset to look like. So we're going to start by giving it first an Impish Nature to increase its physical defense but lower its special attack, or a Careful Nature to increase its special defense but lower its special attack, and then going with the same ability options of Vital Spirit and No Guard like before. As to the EVs, we're going to put 224 into its HP, 252 EVs into either its physical defense or its special defense, and then the remainder 32 EVs into its speed like before to allow it to outspeed base 85 speed Pokemon that it falls just shy of outspeeding. As to the item, because we're going to be fully defensive on the set, we're going to be running Leftovers to allow this Pokemon to recover some HP at the end of each turn, or a Chesto Berry to work in combination with Rest and allow you to regain all of your health after you've taken a significant portion of damage, or have received a status that you don't want to have on you anymore. As to the moves though, because we're running a fully defensive set, we're going to try to support our team first by setting up Stealth Rock for us, damaging your opponents every single time they switch in. Next, we're going to go with Stone Edge as your main stab rock type move, and then either Sucker Punch or Crunch like on many of the other previous sets to give you either some priority because we aren't running a ton of speed on this set, or just a reliable dark type move to make use of. As to the last move slot, there are quite a few options that we could possibly go with to make this Pokemon have a little bit more utility in certain departments. So the first option is going to be Taunt to allow you to make it so that your opponent can't make use of their non-attacking moves, Rest to allow this Pokemon to recover up to full HP as mentioned before with the Chesto Berry, Roar to allow you to phase things out of battle and possibly even make use of your own Stealth Rock that you set up to damage something that you force into the field of battle, or Counter as an option to allow this Pokemon to take a physical hit and then deal a significant chunk of the damage you just took back at your opponent. Finally, for this last moveset, we're going to be running a defensive bulk up set for this variation of Lycanroc. So again, we're going to start by giving it either an impish or careful nature, like before, for the reasons in boosting your physical defense with an impish nature or your special defense with a careful nature, running the same ability options, and then the same EV spread as the previous set with the item leftovers. As for the moves though, we're going to run a sub bulk up variation. So the first move obviously being Substitute to get you behind a protective barrier to shield you from attacks and statuses while you attempt to set up, and then making use of Bulk Up as a way to boost your physical attack and your physical defense by one stage. It's important to note also that with this moveset, depending on if you go physically defensive or specially defensive, it allows you an easier time to bulk up on certain things. For example, if you fully invest in physical defense, this is going to make bulking up versus a physical attacker significantly easier because you're already going to have a high physical defense and then continue to boost it further with bulk up. Whereas if you're on the specially defensive variant, you're basically turning yourself into more or less of a mixed physically and specially defensive Lycanroc because of you boosting your physical defense after already investing fully into your special defense. As for your attacks though, no surprise here, again running with Stone Edge as a way to hit Pokemon with your powerful stab moves, and then Sucker Punch or Crunch for a coverage option. But overall, this variation is really cool because of the fact that it can run a bulky bulk up set, whereas the other variation of Lycanroc is unable to do this because of it having weaker defenses. But speaking of that other variation, if you have not checked out that video yet, I will post a link to it right here on the box in the middle of the screen to check out my video on the midday form of Lycanroc. But with that, for this video at least, it's over. So as always, everybody, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.